Evening, guys. How you doing? Um, my daughter is having a sleepover tonight, so I am going to hope that this kind of goes off without a hitch. I can hear footsteps in the hallway, which is never reassuring, but um, we'll keep on keeping on nonetheless. So I might kind of wait here a couple minutes to see if anyone hops on. Um, and then I'm going to get started and talk about kids and oils. I get lots of questions and kind of like I would say the majority of them, because it's a lot of my mom friends ask me about what is safe with their kids of different ages. So I think this is kind of like a super important class for a lot of you probably to feel confident in starting oils and knowing how to start oils with your kids, which oils to use, all that good stuff. So I am going to start. And if you hear noise in the background, we'll just keep going. So, all right. So first, I have to give the little disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I am mom of 4 kids. I have a 10-year-old daughter. I have twins that will be 5 at the end of the month, and I have a 14-month-old. A little bit about my background. I went to school for special ed, and I was both a special ed teacher and an aide for together about a decade, in addition to being a camp counselor for many, many years, and now having my own kids, babysitting. So most of my job experience, career experience is with kids. So that being said, I have only recently, probably in the last 3 or 4 years, started using essential oils, and that has been with my kids. So some of my background in terms of my understanding of working with kids was pre-oil, but I do have quite a educational foundation in that. But I am not a doctor, and I am not an aromatherapist. But I have done at least hundreds of hours of research into oils in terms of how to use them with my kiddos. And so that is what I would like to pass on to you this evening. So I am going to get started. Again, the safety is kind of paramount when you're starting off in terms of what you're concerned with. So we'll start with safety here. If you caught my Essential Oils 101 class, I talked a little bit about using carrier oils in dilution, and in particularly in children, at least initially, it is super important to use a carrier oil and dilute your oils. Certain ones are less of a concern, but at least initially, to make sure kids don't have any sort of reaction. There are some oils like that I've talked about in the past, hot oils like oregano, thieves, clove, peppermint is cooling, but the other ones are hot oils in that they warm, they give a warming sensation, or peppermint a cooling sensation. So those are ones that you always want to be a little bit careful with. But the ones I'm going to talk about tonight are really great with kids, and so there's really no concern. But you don't just dilute for sensitivity, you also dilute because you can cover a larger surface area. Carrier oils don't, what is the word I'm looking for? They don't evaporate. So sorry. It's been a long day. They don't evaporate as quickly as essential oils. Essential oils are volatile, and they do evaporate quite quickly. So when you mix them with a carrier oil, they will stay on the skin and absorb, and they will be there kind of working for longer. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for them to kind of go into action. But in terms of longevity, they're going to help you kind of maintain the properties of the oils for a longer period of time. If there is irritation, I kind of say this in all my videos just to be sure, you want to put more carrier oil on the oil and wipe it off. You do not want to add water or try soap and water. More carrier oil will dilute it, and then you can wipe it off, and that will be your best bet in terms of kind of like lessening any sort of irritation or anything like that. We say go low and slow. So when you are starting with an oil, you want to start probably with 1 drop, work your way up. You can always add, harder to take away. And slow, meaning, you know, if you're introducing more than 1 oil at a time, it's hard to know if there is a reaction, or even if something is helping or not helping, what exactly it is that's doing that. What is causing irritation, if any? What is helping, you know, if an oil is helping? So you kind of want to be low and slow, not too much at once. Just like, you know, when you introduce food to a kid, you don't give them, you know, 5 different foods at once. You give them one at a time and kind of watch for, you know, any reaction or anything like that. So pretty common sense. But, you know, like when we're working with kids, it's not just us, it's not our body, and we might not be able to, like, they might not be able to vocalize quite as well as us. So, you know, you kind of just want to err on the side of caution. And you can always, like I said, add more of the essential oil if necessary. We have talked about ingesting oils. For kids, especially like younger kids, you don't want to have them ingesting oils. So basically with kids, we're going to talk about using essential oils aromatically in terms of like inhaling, whether it's a diffuser or whatnot, and topically, so on the skin, like I just talked about with carrier oils. So those are the 2 ways we'll talk about using oils with kids. Some really kind of helpful tips when you start out with kids. A great place to start is on the feet, which in general is, you know, a good rule even with adults, but even more so with kids. When I post this information after I do the live video, I will post a VitaFlex kind of like a foot chart. There's one that's just sort of a general for humans like alike, and then a kid foot one. And if you apply the oil kind of in those various areas, it will be most beneficial to you. And just in general, putting on the feet is a good way to start. You know, oils get absorbed into the skin just like anything would, and then they enter the bloodstream. Just like, you know, with a kid, you wouldn't be giving them a nicotine patch, obviously, but if you put a nicotine patch on your arm, you know, the medicine is in the nicotine patch, it sits on the skin, it absorbs into the skin, it absorbs into the bloodstream. Same concept when you're using essential oils topically. Really actually did this with my kids last night. If you know, you want to give them a nice relaxing bath, instead of adding the oils directly into the bath, a great way to do it is to get some Epsom salt, which is really great kind of for a detox type like bath for kiddos anyways. And then if you add some essential oils to the Epsom salt and then add the Epsom salt into the bath, that's your best bet. And in terms of, you know, a lot of people are confused because there's like multiple oils that can help with like the same thing, and also like one oil could help with multiple things. So, you know, it's not like a black or white kind of thing. It's going to be a lot of like sort of trial and error, and you know, there might be several oils that have a similar effect, and your best bet for effectiveness is to rotate those oils so you're not using the exact same oil for the exact same thing every time. And I think that's all I have in terms of like safety and tips kind of starting out. So another thing I want to talk about is, because there are several oils that typically or generally help people in certain areas, sometimes that's not the case. So don't be discouraged if you try something with one kid, maybe it works with one kid and not the other, or maybe it doesn't work with your kids at all. Also, one time is probably not going to be your standard in terms of like knowing if it's going to work. Like you're going to have to try it multiple times. You need to be consistent, be patient, again, be aware, just kind of observe after, like just, we talked about sensitivities and everything, but also just in terms of kind of the target behavior or whatever and how it's improved or not. Like I said, you want to use more than once before you determine whether it's successful or not. Sometimes it takes your body, it actually learns to, as you inhale or as it absorbs into your bloodstream, your body learns to adapt to the oil and to use those benefits. And sometimes that takes time for the oils, and your body to work together to take effect. And one thing I would suggest to kind of chart your progress and what has worked and what hasn't, we'll talk more about like actually identifying the issue and like what the beginning would look like. But if you keep some sort of like anecdotal record or journal of behaviors initially, and then like as you introduce the oils, and then after the fact, you're going to have a better kind of like picture of, this oil helped with, this area, this oil supported this and whatnot. So you can kind of keep track that way. Because, sometimes, especially as parents, we see our kids day to day and kind of maybe takes like a couple weeks and you're like, oh, wait, this kid's behavior is really improved in this area. It might be subtle, but after a couple weeks or a couple months or whatever, you can kind of look back in that record and go, hey, there's been some significant improvements in this area, or this is still an area that is a relative area of weakness, and we need to address this, or whatever, and just kind of like keep tabs on it that way. So, what you need to do first is, like I said, address the problem. So, like what is happening? What have you come to the drawing board for? Like, you're like, I want to try oils. Okay, what is the issue? With kids, we have a whole slew of things. They're in school, so we have these issues of like concentration and attentiveness and focus. There's emotional needs, there's physical needs in terms of their physical health, their immunity, seasonal issues, tummy issues. So what is the issue? What is the problem that you're trying to address or solve? Okay, so that's your first step. And what areas need to be supported, like we just talked about, and you need to be specific. Again, if you're going to use sort of like this journal, the best way is probably to like jot down with some words what their typical, let's say the issue is in the morning, what does the typical morning look like? What is the problem? And that is your best way of charting progress, because you have a, day 1, and then you can look what day 7 looks like, day 14, etc., and see that progress. And again, see what you still need to work on. All right, so we're going to talk about some oils for emotional, behavioral, and learning support. There has been a ton of research about using essential oils in many capacities, particularly to support, various areas with kiddos, like in school, like we talked about in terms of focus, attending. I am limited in what I can say. I cannot mention any sort of diagnoses or disorder, or there's a whole list of hot words that I'm not allowed to say. So some of your best kind of like research is going to be on your own. I will always say, do your own research. I arrived on using essential oils and other kind of natural means of dealing with things because of the research I've done. So I think that an informed consumer is the best consumer. So, do your own research. Listen to what I have to say. However, you need to, make this information your own. Use me as a resource, perhaps, But, there's lots of resources out there. So that being said, if you can Google some of the stuff I'm talking about, you might get a little bit more information, whereas I'm limited, and I would love to tell you specifics, but, could lose my ability to do this professionally in terms of essential oils because the FDA. So I'm limited. Google is not. Doctors are not necessarily, because they are doctors and they can say certain things that we can't. So that being said, if you Google some of the things I'm talking about, and there are a lot of like research-based articles out there, journal articles and peer-reviewed and all that good stuff, that talk about the the support that these oils can give you, and they can probably use different terms. So sometimes when I like stutter with my words, it's because I'm holding back and thinking, what am I actually allowed to say? So food for thought. All right. So in terms of focus support, I will post the link for this particular article that talks about using vetiver and the amazing benefits that it has for kiddos that need support in the areas of focus and attending. I will show you. Vetiver is a tricky little oil because it is super thick and it takes like forever to come out of the bottle. It's a very woodsy smell, and like I said, it's super thick. But it is really good in sleep blends. I'll talk about that later, but also for focus. This with cedarwood and lavender is a really great, sorry, if I can figure out how to Vanna White this, is a really great, oh good Lord, Katie, mix for sleep, but also for focus. Kiddos doing homework at school. Also, Brain Power is a specific essential oil blend that Young Living carries that would also be helpful for focus support. Peppermint as well, frankincense, orange, citrus fresh, lang lang, and these are all ones you can diffuse. So like if you're at home, obviously you can use your diffuser. A little less likely if your kiddos are in school. What I do with my Maddie is I send her with a roller bottle. She has a calming roller bottle and she has a focus roller bottle. We have other ones at home, some immunity ones. I'll talk about those later. But I really like that I can say, hey, Maddie, you have these areas of support that need support. I'm sorry, these areas of need that need support. Here I'm empowering you. I'm giving you these tools, and she's 10, so it's a little easier for her to kind of discern when that's appropriate or not, and when she needs it or not. But she rolls it on, and it's helpful for her. You can, like I said, diffuse, apply to the temples, nape of the neck, the spine. I think she does the wrists. Also just opening it up and smelling it. You can't always take a diffuser with you, but you can take bottles with you and open them up and take a little whiff. So, and like I said, I'll post the link to the article about vetiver. Next, with just kind of overall calming and grounding. Again, these are really great choices: vetiver, lavender, and cedarwood. We have a blend that is actually called Grounding that I absolutely love. It is one that was out of stock for a very long time, and it is now back in stock, and there's a 2-bottle limit a month, and you best believe we get our 2 bottles because it is a good one. Right here. See, I'm like, there we go. It's backwards. I have to remember, like, turn it the opposite way that you actually want it to go. All right. Another one that is good for this is White Angelica, which I think I left in the other room. But White Angelica, Copaiba, Peace and Calming, which is this one. Right here, this is a great one. This is like probably one of my favorite outside of the starter kit. probably my favorite outside of the starter kit, because Frank is my other favorite, and that's in the starter kit. So frankincense, speaking of frankincense, also great for overall calming and grounding. Sandalwood, ylang ylang again, bergamot, chamomile, valor, northern lights, black spruce, and these are all ones too that you could kind of diffuse throughout the day at your house. If kiddos are going to school, this right here is a diffuser bracelet. It has these little like lava stones on it, and this is actually exactly what I do with it. I take the peace and calming, and it kind of goes on the little lava rocks, and then throughout the day, you just breathe it in, and that's super calming. It's kind of nice. Plus, it smells nice. And my friends always tell me I smell like essential oil, so I guess that's good. I think it is. So, and so the diffuser bracelet is nice. They actually, I think they're sold out now, but they had these slap bracelets for kids, which are really nice. This one is a little like stretchy, but I think there's several people on my team that actually make the bracelets maybe a little tougher for kids that are a little rougher on things, like my kids. And then again, you can smell these from the bottle. If you make a roller and you're applying them, you can smell it from the bottle as well, even if there's a carrier oil. And then in terms of like isolated tantrums, so these things you can kind of support like sort of throughout the day. And then if there is like kind of like this breakthrough tantrum, like a jolt of anger or a jolt of sadness, like the thing with kids is like sometimes they have a tantrum or a meltdown because they're sad or because they're tired or mad. So sometimes you kind of have to think to yourself, like, what is the precursor of this? And you might want to like treat that, like, if you're addressing something that maybe is a little like because of anger, you might do something like, where is it? My Endoflex. This is a really great one for endocrine support, and you can apply it over your liver, and then also like over your thyroid, and they say that you carry anger in your liver, so this is a really great one, but that's kind of addressing it one way, as opposed to, you can smell this, but like a peace and calming might be good like in the moment to put under a kid's nose, kind of like encourage them to take deep breaths, and in taking the deep breaths and smelling the oils, they're going to start calming down, and you might be able to kind of discuss what the issue is at hand, and maybe that's what led to the tantrum. Your kids, and kind of start to peel back the layers of like what, sometimes kids are mad about one thing, but really that's not the issue. And you kind of want to get them to a point where they're settled down enough that you can kind of talk through the problem. And I look at the oils as a toolkit. You're not going to put a drop of oil on something and like everything's going to magically be better. It takes some effort. It's not going to just happen like right away. And these are things, they're not going to you're not going to use oils and not have to be a parent, obviously. You're still going to need to, talk through things and figure out the issue and still, do the work. But these tools can help you do it more efficiently. And, that's what I have found. Another one is Stress Away. That is my Maddie's favorite. I have a blend of grounding and Stress Away for her that she, did I put peace and calming in it? I can't remember, that she really likes. So grounding is a great one for that. White Angelica as well. I have a Tranquil roller. Young Living also sells a few of these kind of, they're pre-mixed with a carrier oil. And, I have a couple people that just purchase these because they're really new to oils and they don't want to have to do any of the guesswork initially, and kind of like, this is how they want to jump in. So they ordered one of these, and they're hoping they can kind of see if that's helpful for them. And then we'll kind of look and see, oh, well, you know, because this has lavender in it, maybe that's something that's helpful for you. So that sometimes is a little less scary than having a bunch of bottles of oil, when you know that this, like, literally you just open it up and roll it on or smell it and there's nothing to think about. So the Tranquil roller is nice for that. And also I showed you EndoFlex. We did EndoFlex in a roller as well, to roll over the liver, because it's easier than doing it like drop by drop. So basically I did like, I think it's like 1 part EndoFlex, 1 part carrier oil. And so we use this to cover like larger surface areas. I'll do a drop of EndoFlex over my thyroid or over Maddie's thyroid. But in terms of like a larger surface area, this works a little bit better. And so I think that is all for the, okay. If you feel like kind of sadness is leading to the tantrum, or the breakdown or whatever, something you might do like proactively, would be doing some sort of citrus oil, like diffusing a citrus oil on a diffuser bracelet, something of that nature. If you think the issue kind of stems from sadness, those citrus oils are very uplifting, not to the point of them being like, you know, like they're on a caffeine high or anything, but uplifting for the mood. And again, then you're sort of like laying the foundation for kind of some more support in these areas. So, you know, there's the whole, like, you want to maybe use things preventatively, and then when there's those breakthrough tantrums or breakthrough like issues, then you can then you can support those as well. So and they might be the same oil that you use proactively and then kind of for those situations, and that's fine. But you know, kids mood cycle, don't all of our mood cycle. And you know, it's not an exact science, you know, things change. So we got to kind of change with it with our tools. So, you know, you get kiddos that are nervous, they're real nervous and like they're very worrisome, a lot of like, what if this happens? What if that happens? These, you know, the struggle and feelings of anxiousness with change, kids that are like a little bit rigid and, you know, they're used to a routine and then something changes and then it's, oh my goodness, like, what am I going to do with this? Stress Away is a great one for that. White Angelica, Valor, that might not be over here. I think that's in my kids' room because I use that for sleep too. And again, those can be diffused. Kind of if a kid is just a worrier all the time, that might be something that you use, like, you know, just sort of preventatively, if they're having sort of like a nervous attack, or if it's just like out of nowhere, you know, you might apply it topically in that moment. You might have them smell from the bottle, diffuser bracelet, in a roll-on, all that good stuff. There is a specific kit that Young Living sells called the Reconnect Oil Collection, and that contains In Touch, Reconnect, Sleepy Eyes, and Genius. Genius and Sleepy Eyes are part of the KidScents line. I am not going to actually talk about it live tonight, but on the informational posts, I'll outline those oils, and those are pre-diluted. So again, it doesn't take a lot of like guesswork. Not that there's guesswork, because when you sign up with me, there's no guesswork. I'm here to help you. The whole Oil Collective community is here to help you. But in terms of your confidence, I think that sometimes it helps initially. And, you know, for me, I just kind of go like, you know, head first. And not everyone's like that. So the kids line is pre-diluted. And it's not something you have to kind of think about and you can use in the moment. And that might be more comfortable for some people when they're starting out with oils. And so Sleepy Eyes and Genius are two of those in this Reconnect kit. Again, I'm limited as to what I can say about it. So if you want to Google Young Living Reconnect Collection, to see what it's for. It can be really helpful for kids that, well, I can't really say much else on that, okay? So I won't, but it can be super supportive in the areas of focus, attending, calm, and relaxation as well. But Google that one. There's a specific population that's like super awesome with, but say no more. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to move on to oils for sleep. As we know, sleep is super important for us grown-ups as well as children alike. My kids really melt down very easily when they are tired, as do I. But so sleep support sometimes is important. I diffuse in my kids' nights, or in my kids' rooms every night, some combination of really any of these ones that I'm going to mention. White Angelica is one. Cedarwood, lavender, vetiver, all ones we've talked about. Orange, frankincense, stress away, grounding. Valor is really good for nightmares. And like I said, I diffuse. Before my kids go to bed, they have a sleep roller that has like Valor, lavender, I think it has copaiba in it. So that's like their sleepy time roller. It goes on their feet and on their big toe, which is supposed to help with snoring, but we'll see when my husband gets back into town. I'm going to put a little Valor on his toe. And they also use an immunity roller at night as well. And then like I said, we diffuse in their diffuser throughout the night as well. And so it's like double decker of the sleep support. And for immunity support, so in the roller that they put on their feet at night as well, I have thieves, oregano. Now, oregano is a hot oil like I talked about, so you definitely want to have a carrier oil in there. On your feet are a little less sensitive because it's kind of rougher skin, but still you want to have it diluted. And their immunity roller also has, it has thieves, oregano, lemon, and frankincense. And that's also a good combo to diffuse if you need it. Certain times during the year when kids aren't feeling so great. Oregano, you want to keep away from babies. It's very strong, even aromatically, but it's a good one. Can't really say anything beyond that, but it's a good one. We always have that, and for good reason. And again, you can Google it if I'm being too vague, and I would love to tell you more specifics, but I cannot. Roll on feet. When anytime like we have like any little inkling of like not feeling well, I also rub it on like their chest and neck, as well as the feet during like beginning signs of any ickiness. Thieves is also a hot oil, so that's diluted. I have put it on neat. I personally have put it on neat on my neck, thinking like, oh, it's no different than like my feet. And then you're like, oh, your neck is like really sensitive and it kind of burns a little bit. So, again, carrier oils are your friend, especially with kiddos. And like I said, kids under 2 omit the oregano. Like I don't use that immunity roller on Evie because it's a bit strong. Even when diluted, it's a bit strong. And then we diffuse thieves, like thieves all the time, all day, all night. No, just kidding. First of all, we clean with thieves, so that's really great. And, you know, I have a mom's group every Friday. I'm always diffusing thieves. We've been super healthy, and it's April now, and I keep saying this, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to jinx it, but for real, like we've never been healthier, you guys. So all the thieves, really. Thieves also cleaner, your best friend. Thieves in the diffuser, thieves in the immunity roller. Thieves. Support overall wellness and immunity for the whole family. Elderberry syrup has been really great for us too. Really great. So that I at some point posted I use use Wellness Mama's recipe, but then I put it in my Instant Pot because my Instant Pot is life. And if you don't have an Instant Pot, you should get one. But that's for another time. All right, so that's immunity. Other areas of support. Support for other areas of need. It's Friday. It was a long week, guys. So respiratory support. Raven is in the kit, as is peppermint. They are really nice for that. Peppermint, like I said, is a hot oil, cool oil. There's a cooling sensation, which I like. Some people find it too intense. And for kids, you're going to want to dilute it. RC as well. So Raven in like littler kids might be a little bit strong, and RC is kind of an alternative for that. They both have eucalyptus in them, but Raven is a little stronger. There are, I want to say 2 or 3 different eucalyptus that Young Living sells as well that are helpful. There's a Breathe Again roller, which is like the Tranquil roller that is like pre-diluted from Young Living. And that stuff is magic. My super skeptical husband used that on his neck when he was not feeling well, and he was like, oh my goodness, it worked. I was like, yeah, not crazy after all. I mean, maybe I am, but maybe not. So a roller bottle blend that is great for respiratory support would be RC or Raven, frankincense, lemon, lavender, and then you can apply topically to the chest or near the nose or diffuse. I know a lot of people that take a swab of lavender and actually like rub it on the inside of their nose for support. And in terms of seasonal support and sinus support, it's a very vague way of saying something that I'm not allowed to say. I am going to also post another video that talks about sort of like the sinus support, like ear, nose, throat, all that good stuff, and how one mom uses oils to support her kids' needs in terms of that. And also a really great seasonal roller would be lemon, peppermint, copaiba, and lavender. And actually all 4 of those are in the premium starter kit. So guys, when I talk about the value of the premium starter kit, I'm not just like blowing hot air because like I want you to sign up. Like the starter kit absolutely has like changed our life. Because you're not just like, oh, here's some oils that I don't know what to do with. Here's 11 oils that like are super common, that are super helpful, that have like a variety of different purposes, and like aren't scary because there's all of these resources to tell me how to use them. And so when I talk about this premium starter kit, it's not like this like crazy thing. It's honestly the most practical way to go about it. It's certainly the most cost effective. We couldn't have afforded it otherwise. So, you know, it's definitely a great way to dive into oils, but also like, you know, have your handheld during it if you need that, which is totally fine because it's new for most people. So, seasonal support. Sorry, that got a little off topic there, but not so much. Roller bottle for outdoor support, diffuse for indoor support. You can't take your diffuser outside. I mean, you can take it outside, but it's not like contained, so it's not going to be as helpful. So a roller bottle is nice, or just kind of, like I said, you can swab your nose, or, you know, a lot of people put the oil in their hands and just, and like, there you go. Growing pains and soreness, or just being uncomfortable. Copaiba with panaway and peppermint. You can make a muscle rub. Those, both panaway and peppermint are going to have like kind of a cooling sensation. Panaway has peppermint and wintergreen in it. So you're going to, with kiddos, you're going to want to dilute that. Apply, you can put coconut oil with them and rub on like a muscle rub, like I said, or any other carrier oil. Young Living has a V6 vegetable complex oil, or we use fractionated coconut oil, you know, whatever you got around or whatever you like to use. If kids have allergies, obviously be, you know, cognizant of not using almond oil if they have an almond allergy. but there's a variety of different carrier oils, and you can look at my 101 video or class for more information on that. Teething, when Evie's teething, I use Copaiba neat on the gums. So neat meaning not diluted. You can put it straight on the gums. That is a vitality oil. So, you know, kids, I'm saying that kids can't ingest. However, they're not really ingesting. It's like sitting on the gum. They're not going to be like drinking things with oils in it. But Copaiba is extremely gentle. So it is safe on the gums. And then I also apply on the jawline that and lavender. So Copaiba and lavender along the jawline as well for teething support. In terms of skin irritation, lavender, melrose, tea tree, frankincense, patchouli are all really great for the skin. You can apply diluted in a carrier oil of your choice. You know, there's some creams that I make with shea butter and coconut oil, and then some essential oils. And the shea butter gives it a thicker consistency. And there's some that actually have like beeswax in it to make it even thicker. If it's something that you want to like be coating on the skin as opposed to like a thinner consistency. And you can ask me for some of my favorite recipes for some of those DIYs. I have a face cream that I use that actually is like a baby diaper cream or like baby butt cream, and I've been using it on my skin. My skin honestly has never been better, so I'm going to keep using it. And I put frankincense in it because frankincense is really great as a toner and a skin brightener. So and safe for kids because, you know, it's all natural ingredients. It's, you know, like 4 ingredients and some essential oils. So that leaves me with head tension. Can't say the hot button words, so I'll say head tension. There's the physical signs of head tension, and those you can make a roller bottle, so it's diluted with frankincense, copaiba, peppermint, and panaway. Anytime that you're kind of close to the eyes, especially with like peppermint, you want to be extra careful. You don't want to get it in the eye. If you were to get it in the eye, again, you're going to use additional carrier oil to flush the eye. You're not going to use water because it's going to make it worse. But just, you know, if you're rolling something with peppermint in around here, just kind of do it slowly so nothing's dripping, and just, you know, be careful, common sense. And if that physical tension is caused by stress, stress away might be a good one. Lavender, you can diffuse lavender and peppermint, which is really nice. And then, you know, you might figure out what is causing these bouts of head tension, and you know, try to find ways to support whatever is causing it with oils as well. And that kind of sums up my video portion of the evening. And if you head over to the actual event for the class, like the event page, I am going to post basically what I've said, kind of reiterate it in like typing form. And then the KidScents line information will also be posted, as well as the Seedlings information, and some other kind of resources and links that are super helpful, a little bit more about the premium starter kit, and that's about it. So hope you guys have a great weekend. We actually have this rally coming up tomorrow that I'm going to be going to virtually because I am in Janesville, and it's online. So if you want to kind of join us with that, that's for anybody. That's you don't have to be a member of Young Living. You could be a member of Young Living on a different team. It's just kind of a fun way. It's called the Live Your Passion Rally, and it's sort of fitting because you know, wellness has kind of become, in terms of like seeking wellness myself, for my family. Educating others has really become my passion since we've kind of tried to start like living a more non-toxic lifestyle in terms of the products we bring in our home and all that. And honestly, like the biggest surprise in joining Young Living is the focus that my team has on not just living non-toxically, like with your products, but also in terms of like this reprogramming the toxic mindset. It's been really amazing. And you know, I don't like to like pitch the biz per se, but in terms of like a community, you know, I'm obviously trying to, you know, do this as a business, but the community that I've been involved with now for the last couple of months has been really amazing in terms of support, not just, you know, for this oily lifestyle, but just sort of like being a good person in general. You know, it's not a bad thing to kind of work on yourself and self-improvement. So if that is something you're interested in terms of, you know, well, first of all, if you can refer 3 people, your kit is free. So that's something to think about. But if you have a passion for this as well, you know, come, you know, talk to me, message me, whatever. Let's chat. This is more than just oils to me. It's, you know, kind of like a lifestyle that I, you know, am by no means perfect in, and it's a constant learning process. But, you know, it's one that I really, you know, Shannon and I have really committed to trying our best to sort of find like natural ways and non-toxic ways of dealing with things. And, you know, like I said, I'm not a doctor, and, you know, you certainly know your body better than anyone else, and certainly, you know, talk to your doctor about any sort of issues or needs that you have. But, you know, like I said, these oils, Young Living products in general, have become a toolbox for us to be super like proactive and empowered in, you know, kind of helping ourselves deal with things that are within our, you know, means of dealing with. So I would love to talk to you more about that if that's something that interests you in terms of your everyday life, your professional life, whatever. So I hope you guys have a great weekend and be well.